Hello, Calvin.
What's up, man? How you doing?
Hello, Calvin. This is Fandango. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Welcome to another exciting episode of This Podcast is for Nerds. Today, I, Zach Fandango, was joined by the illustrious actor Calvin Toast. Calvin, how are you today?
I'm splendid. How are you today, Zach?
Quite good, quite good. So, if you've noticed that my fancy new mesh top is showing my nipples, how do you feel about that?
What a splendid start to this podcast. Sorry, I was getting the screen share going. So welcome to This Podcast is for Nerds, everyone. This week we're doing a media club and we watched season 1 of Toast of London. What do you think of it, Zach?
Well, I will tell you this. I loved it so much I didn't realize I had actually gotten pretty deep into season 2.
Oh, hell yeah. That's awesome. I'm glad to hear it. Nice. So I guess we don't want to spoil. We'll talk about it later in the episode. I want to see where you ended up. I'll give a brief overview and then we'll give our scores and hop into spoiler stuff. Although there's not much to spoil with this show.
It's not much to spoil, and it's honestly one of the coolest shows I've seen in a long time because I don't feel like you have to be involved in it entirely to get what's going on. It's like there is an overarching story, but there's also like each story segmented enough. It's really accessible.
Yeah, that is what I really like about it. So this is I guess technically it's a 7-episode season 1 with the pilot, but they reuse some clips from the pilot in later episodes this season. But I guess the overarching plot, it follows Stephen Toast. He's kind of a failing actor in the midst of a divorce with his wife. And the big thing he's known for right now is like this world's most controversial play that no one will even say the name of. And he's got this agent that's kind of useless at getting him roles. And he does a lot of voiceover work. So a lot of like my favorite moments are the voiceover work because the crew that works with him on those voiceovers are just hilarious. So that's like the overarching story is him kind of trying to build out his career a little bit more and kind of put that play behind him. Yeah, and then each individual episode kind of covers like a different role that he's getting, and there's usually like a woman that he's wooing in each episode, and he's just hilarious. And I think for me, the best part about this show, besides how hilarious and off the wall it can be, is pretty much each episode features an original song that Matt Berry, the creator of the show, wrote and performed for each episode. And it kind of fits with whatever the theme of the episode is. So I really love those moments. This is probably one of my favorite UK comedy series. Like it's up there with Monty Python for me. So I'd give it pretty much, I think I'm going to give this like a 5 out of 5. Matt Berry is probably one of my favorite actors right now. And I'm so glad he's getting some more work.
No, I'd have to agree with that. I would definitely give it a 5 out of 5, but I'd also give it a 5 out of 5 with the pretext that if you're not used to comedy from the UK, you have to kind of know how to go with that flow to really appreciate it.
Yeah, totally agree. Yeah, there's some like very British humor type moments. I mean, it can be very dry. And I think Matt Berry's character, Steven, actually mentions how dry his humor is. So if that's not your thing, the show probably won't be for you. But you might like him in some of his other stuff that he's been in. He's really well known for IT Crowd, and more recently What We Do in the Shadows, the what is that, FXX show?
Yes.
Yeah. So there's our ratings. If you haven't watched it, give it a watch and come back, or just come hang out and hear our thoughts on the show. Okay, so where did you end up in season 2, Zach?
I actually just went to check my Netflix right now to see which episode I ended up on. I lied. I'm actually in season 3.
Dang. Okay, so you really did like it.
Yeah, and I think I want to go back. I think it says I'm on episode 6, but I don't think that's right because I know I got up at some point and had to do like some work today. So I'm pretty sure I'm probably on episode 3 of season 3.
Oh wow, that's amazing. I'm sorry to break it to you. That is the last season of the show.
Why I want to go back and double check because I'm missing something. But I did just kind of just sit and watch it like the last 3 days.
Yeah, it's fantastic, and I'm glad there have been talks over the years because this show came out in 2012, and ever since then he's kind of gone on to do some other stuff, and this has kind of been on the back burner, and I feel like it kind of got a second life when Netflix picked it up, and that's how I watched it. Was close friend of mine recommended I watch it on Netflix, so that's kind of how I watched it. And there had been mumblings that it might come back, and apparently he's working on a 4th season right now. And actually during COVID they created a YouTube channel where he's doing like little audio skits as Stephen Toast. So
just real quick too, for those of you who are watching the YouTube, you may have listened to this part because unless it's on YouTube, I guess not, and maybe not. I don't know.
Yeah, we'll see. I totally forgot about that moment. I'm. It's so funny. Like, I mean, I guess I can get away with a lot more in the UK. And I guess there's some series 2 moments in this. Because this isn't season 1.
Most countries are seriously like way less like, I don't know, not for lack of a better term, so uptight about sex and nudity. So it's like, I mean, I grew up watching anime, so for me, seeing somebody's boob pop out, it's not a huge deal. It's just like, okay, waifu. Mrs. Purchase.
Oh, she's one of my favorite characters. Ray's wife is a prostitute that only charges her husband for sex, which is great.
And Bill Purchase, dude. Oh my god. Wait. That's not season 1. Never mind. Ignore that part. I forgot. Yeah. Definitely season 2. But I love the whole cast. I can't think of a moment that I didn't like in this show. I did think it was funny because Toast's character overall, he seems very like the way he dresses. He and Ray both seem very like in the 70s sort of feel, the way they dress. They're like good and evil, the white knight, the dark knight kind of thing. But their world is still very modern, even when they're not. Like Toast uses a phone from the 80s. Like he's still stuck in that. This is when he was big, so he won't let go of that period of his life as an actor. And I just love to see that collide with the world around him, because they don't really like talk about it time period wise. But it's very much he's like in the past. He uses a giant cell phone, a rotary phone, but there's cars, there's TV, there's contemporary actors that he makes fun of, and all of that kind of mixture kind of makes me laugh.
Oh yeah, I do love they constantly rip on what's his name from the Marvel movies. Oh shoot, it's gonna drive me crazy. He plays Doctor Strange.
Cumberbatch.
Yeah, Benedict Cumberbatch. They're constantly ripping on him in this show. Which I think is, I think he's not super well liked in the UK. I don't know if that's true, but
I don't know, honestly. It's just fun. This show is a great ride. So for you, since you recommended it as the media club, what was your what was your moment for this show that made you go, this is my show and I like this show?
Honestly, like the pilot episode is so solid that I like the very first moment I knew I was gonna love it. So the first moment of the show is Toast is having sex with Toast is having sex with Ray Purchase's wife, and he keeps telling her, I'm giving you all I got. And Ray comes into the house and he hides in this cabinet that is in the middle of their bedroom. Like it's not up against any wall. And he just hides in there. And Ray immediately realizes that Toast is in there. And he starts, he grabs what does he grab? Like an axe and like smashes into the cabinet. And then they like go in this fight. I was just like, this show is so off the walls. Like it's not like at all based in reality. So I knew I was really going to enjoy it.
Yeah, I definitely enjoyed, like, it's like I think I told you during our other recording, it's just deliciously off-putting. Like, it's just the right amount of like awkward, but also just like the best kind of awkward as well.
Yeah, certainly. And I think a lot of the other characters in the show help with that and kind of make us realize how off-putting Toast can be as a person.
Absolutely.
Yeah, especially his manager, Jane Pluff, but it's spelled like plow. She's constantly getting him these roles, but she like misreads the email or the communication. And like one of the big moments of this season is he's trying to get a role in the new James Bond movie. And he's under the assumption that he's going to be playing as James Bond. And I think it's the last episode he finds out that the role he's going to be performing in is as the double take man, which I don't even know if that's a real Bond character. But I really enjoy her.
Yeah, I love the episode. I forgot what episode it was, but he calls her and she's getting a massage from like this naked dude in her office.
Oh,
Prints it at all ever again. Like there's no like, oh, this is something odd. She's just like this dude, just like, just balls out, just massaging her, and she's just like laying there talking to Toast like it's a normal thing. And I was like,
yeah.
What the hell is going on right now?
It's so great. She always like drags him along to her appointments. I think it's the first episode where she's like getting her hair done, and they've got that like big machine that like covers the hair and the face completely. And each time they open it, they cut and her hair is like completely different.
Yeah, I love this show. And you're right, the recording cast. So I always like the idea of doing voiceovers, but it's funny because watching his interaction with voiceover like directors and producers is just so hilarious to me. And just the way this whole thing is shot and the interaction between him and Ray Purchase, they play off each other so well. It's just incredible.
Yeah, they really are the perfect pair. So there's an episode that I really enjoy where he gets invited to perform for this film with Ray Purchase ends up being in it. The director has like, isn't he like a Nazi apologist or something?
Wait, are you talking about the one where he's a Mason?
No, I was thinking about the one where they have to do the exercises together. Maybe I'm confusing two episodes.
Oh. No, you're right. It's so Ray, I love Ray's character too. They portray him as like trying to be this like good actor in comparison, but he's still just a dick. Like,
yeah, I really don't know what his job is, honestly. Like I don't really know anything about him, but I guess apparently he is an actor at times. They're pretty much rivals right from the moment he starts having sex with his wife. And there's a moment where he's a police sketch artist, right?
Yeah, but I feel like more often than not he is whatever Toast is doing, Ray is always there to be like all of a sudden like his rival in that thing.
Yeah, for sure. There's a moment where he just randomly starts playing some like pickup frisbee with these like ripped dudes, and Ray Purchase just shows up out of nowhere and kicks him in the nuts like incredibly hard, where like Toast is like lifted into the air from it, and he just says, "That's for fucking my wife," and then he runs off.
I apologize for those who are listening because this has me laughing. I'm watching the YouTube that Calvin's put up as we're recording, because you'll be seeing this if you're on the YouTube. There's one episode where they both perform in front of a fan. So for the rest of the episode, both Ray and Steven Toast's hair is just blown back in this massive blowout style fashion. And it's just ridiculous. And they keep it up the entire time. It's like little things that happen during the show they don't acknowledge. It's just, oh, this is normal. This is totally normal. No one's going to question it. And it's just ridiculous. And I love it so much.
Yeah. One of those moments that I think of is like, so there's an episode where Toast is dating this woman who's got an ankle monitor. Or no, it's in the same episode, but he's dating this woman that's an alcoholic, and they're walking down this canal, and she just randomly picks up a grocery cart or a trolley and throws it into the canal, and like obviously that's weird, and Toast recognizes it as weird, but he like even has a name for it, like like that's just something people do.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm muting myself so I can laugh in the crowd.
There's some great stuff here. I love his roommate too. He's got the agoraphobic little side piece that lives upstairs.
Yeah.
She's like this ancient old lady.
I feel like too, like, we can talk about this show all day. You have to experience it. There's so many pieces to this show that work so well. Like,
yeah, like this moment here. There's a moment where Toast and Ray have to record audio. They're dubbing a gay porn together, and and they're having to like mimic sex with each other, and they're just like making this intense eye contact while they're making out. It's so funny,
and they hate each other, but at the same time, everyone knows that Purchase is like historically like he's super homophobic, but he's performing this scene, so he and Steven are just close to each other with the microphones, like making these like mouthing noises at each other, and it is just I love how they open the show with the scenes of him doing voice recording, and how Jimmy and Clem Fandango consistently dig with him the entire time.
Yeah. So what is your what's your favorite recording booth moment?
Okay, so I'm a little stuck because I feel like I've watched it so many times in a row. I don't know what's not season 1 anymore.
Well, for me, like this show, you can really only spoil like bits. You're not going to really spoil the show as a whole. So just go with whatever you think it is. And I'm sure it'll end up in season 1.
It's the one where Clem keeps like trying to tell him the specific way that the client wants something read. Specific, he takes his hand off the button, and Steven keeps yelling at him saying, "What are you doing? I can't hear what you're saying." And every time he goes back, he's like, "Hello, Steven, this is Clem Fandango. Can you hear me?" He goes, "Yes, I can hear you now. Keep your finger on the button." "Okay, Steven, perfect. So for this next line, we want you to," and he puts his finger up again. Steven loses shit, and I just love how they keep digging with him, and it's like I literally can't help it. It's like he laughs so much.
Oh, I love that moment too. It's so great. That's like there's a great compilation of just the recording booth moments, and like whenever I try and introduce someone to this show, like all my friends that I've introduced to it, I just show that compilation clip, and they all immediately go watch the show. So yeah, I feel like if you watch a Clem Fandango compilation video and you enjoy what you see, I think you'll probably enjoy the rest of this show.
I would agree. What was your favorite one?
I think my favorite is the first one I remember seeing, because I had seen a few clips before I had watched it on Netflix. Just my cousin was like, "Oh, have you seen this?" And the first one he showed me was the it's the Navy recording. So so Toast has to record these. It's like this automated system for the Royal Navy, and he has to say all this kind of like ridiculous stuff that you would expect to hear from the Navy. So he's like, up periscope, and then he's talking about like launching nuclear weapons, and the greatest part for me is that Clem Fandango's in the booth, and there's like two representatives from the Navy behind him just sitting there watching the recording like that would ever happen. And they're like, Clem gives him some notes and he's like, I think you should have a little more fun with it. He's like, have more fun with it, I'm about to launch fucking nuclear Armageddon.
I love when, okay, so overall for the booth moments, I love where it seems like the people behind the booth, so Clem and Jimmy, that they're laughing so hard because you can tell they're actually laughing. They're not like fake laughing. There's just some stuff that they're reacting to Matt Berry saying that they just lost it. They just left it in. And I love when that happens, honestly.
Yeah, I wonder if I've never found any, but I would love to see if there are some outtakes for this show. I think it'd be fantastic. Now, so throughout season 1, Toast dates some very interesting women. Do you have a particular one that you enjoy the most?
Well, indirectly, yes.
Okay.
So I can't remember her name, but when he dates the Indian lady, so she was interesting. What was more interesting was her grandmother.
Do you want to explain that episode?
Sure. So I'm sorry. I'm watching it right now on the screen. So that's one of my favorites. This is one of my favorite scenes is during this play. I want to tell you right now because having yes. I'm sorry. I am so sorry. I should not watch this while I'm trying to explain this. Oh no. Okay. Oh, so Stephen courts a lady at a bar, and she happens to be watching her grandmother. And so normally Stephen's like, well, that's kind of weird. I don't want to like, do anything in front of your grandmother. And she goes, oh, don't worry. She's deaf and she's blind. She won't know anything. And so you go through the different premises of him like dating her and them talking about how, she won't know anything. Don't worry about it. So a couple of times the grandmother will be in the room while they're having sex. And he's like, are you sure she can't see or hear? She goes, yeah, I'm sure. And at one point the grandmother has like her phone out and is like recording them. He's like, oh, I'm pretty sure she can see. He's like, no, she can't see. So it turns out a couple episodes later, an episode or two later, he's at a bar and he keeps hearing someone say the grandmother's name. He turns around, the grandmother's like in a corner having a beer with someone. Totally can see, totally can hear. So like the whole time that gimmick was running, which was odd enough that she would just like not be able to see or hear. She could totally see or hear them like going at it the entire time. So that was really fun for me because it was just hilarious. Like that was like one of the things that was an aspect of this relationship of this deaf, blind grandmother just being around at all times.
Wow. Oh yeah. Yeah, it reminds me of our last media club. We discussed Arrested Development. It reminds me of the lawyer that was pretending to be blind.
And I apologize for those who heard me laughing the entire time. There's a scene. Ray Purchase apparently has a twin albino named Bill Purchase, and he, Toast, and Ray Purchase are in a play together, and apparently Bill Purchase is known for playing horrendous pranks on actors. In this particular scene, Bill steals Toast's smoking pipe, and then he puts it up his butt and then puts it back on the scene and makes Toast put it in his mouth for the scene. And it's so effed up.
I think that's from season 2, but I do love that moment so much.
I love that Ray's in the background laughing too, even though it's still him.
Yeah.
Just incorrigible. It's almost like watching Looney Tunes almost with swearing and British accents.
Yeah, I think it is important. Speaking of the voice, is like Matt Berry has this very interesting way of talking, and it seems to go into all of his work. And I honestly think it's probably one of the most endearing things about him. How do you feel about his voice? Do you like it, or do you find it kind of off-putting?
Oh no, I love his voice.
Yeah,
It's very, it's very, it's got a lot of like good overall feel to it. I'm not saying that properly. His voice feels like when you go into a room with good acoustics, but he can generate that on his own.
yeah, that's true. It feels like, and it's interesting that it's kind of like translated into his other work. Maybe he just finds it funny, but it feels like a theater major that's like overacting. Just like the way he enunciates things and speaks very loudly.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. Actually, I feel like it's got a lot of got a lot of body to it. I don't know if that's like the proper way of saying that or not.
No, yeah, that makes sense for sure. It's honestly probably like the most defining characteristic of Matt Berry as an actor to me. I mean, other than being like really funny, like he has just got this very unique voice, and I could like, it makes sense to me that they've centered this show around him doing a lot of voiceover work, because if he wasn't doing this, I could see him do voiceover work for a living, like as for real.
And I don't know much about him, like as his like background. Has he done voiceover work at all, just in general?
I think so. Like, so he started the audio skits, and I think there was one point he had a podcast, and he's been in music. Like he's released several albums throughout his career, and so I think, I don't know. I think audio is just super important to him. No, I mean, most of his career was like he worked on Mighty Boosh. I don't know if you ever watched that.
I did not.
So are you familiar with it was like big on YouTube at one point. I feel like it got passed around a lot. The old Greg skit.
Nope.
Oh, okay. I'll pull up a clip while I'm discussing this. So Mighty Boosh was it was a small like comedy troupe that was big around the like early to mid 2000s. And it consisted of a few guys, namely like one of the biggest names is Noel Fielding. If you've watched the new seasons of Great British Bake Off, he's the comic host of that.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So this was what he was doing before he got picked up for Great British Bake Off. So old Greg was like this very funny skit. It kind of blew up, and it was the reason but I don't think like anyone went on to like watch the show outside of this. But it is to me one of just many funny skits. But Matt Berry's, he worked on that show. He had a kind of a minor role, and then arguably one of his other best pieces of work was a show he did with another actor on Mighty Boosh. It was called Snuffbox, and it's Matt Berry and this other guy. They're playing hangmen, so they're like the executioners in England. So it's like it's set. It's not modern day, so it's really funny. And then obviously he got picked up for IT Crowd, which was kind of probably one of his bigger claim to fame. I don't know if you watched that show. That was like, I don't know, it was kind of like The Office, but centered around like these nerdy guys.
I didn't watch it, but I did see it on Netflix, so I was just kind of curious about it and just never really like went to check it out. But now I will.
Yeah, I think if you like Toast of London, this style of humor, you'll enjoy. You'll enjoy IT Crowd, and you'll see some familiar faces besides Matt Berry, but he has a pretty prominent role in that show. And then after that, he went on to create Toast of London, and Yeah, I'd highly recommend Snuffbox. It's fantastic, and now that he's doing What We Do in the Shadows, I'm very happy for him. He's kind of blown up. He was even in Archer for an episode.
Wait, was he?
Yeah, I haven't seen the 2019 season, but he played Mr. Deadly. I don't know if that's.
I haven't seen the 2019 season either. I think I stopped after the Noir season.
Oh, okay. Did you watch Disenchantment on Netflix?
No.
It's Matt Groening from Simpsons. He did like a fantasy sitcom.
Oh, yeah, I started it.
Oh, okay. He's in that as well.
Who is he in that show?
Prince Merkimer.
Is he really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. That's awesome.
Yeah, so he's had a pretty it's kind of interesting watching his career. And it seems like, you know, sometimes there's these British actors that get really popular in America, and then they come here and start doing work, and then they kind of lose their audience in the UK. Like some of the people I think of is like John Oliver. If you've watched Last Week Tonight, that who's that guy that has the late night talk show. He does the carpool karaoke.
Oh yeah, I know he is.
Yeah, like they're not neither of those guys are super popular in the UK, but I feel like Matt Berry still he kind of has his feet in both America and the UK, which I'm really happy for him in that regard. And it just seems within the past few years he's just blown up in the US.
Well, I'm super glad you recommended this show, and it's awesome. I literally cannot wait to finish it. And I recommend it 10 out of 10, honestly, because you can go through it and just miss so many subtle things. You have to go back and just double check. Like, wait a minute. What the hell did he just say? For instance, the episode I landed up on last night, I'm not going to give away anything about it except for there's a guest who has a particular amount of charisma. I love the outfits that the gentlemen in the booth wear also. They're constantly coming up with nonsense outfits. It's so great.
Yeah, I wonder if they just let them pick and see what they come up with. Because I know Jimmy's like, he's a DJ that does like music festivals and stuff.
I just love, because I feel like every time they break and they laugh, it's just they look like they're having an actual laugh. They're actually laughing the entire time. I think my favorite actually booth moment was the sex change.
Oh yeah.
And that whole saga of just like things happening around that.
Yeah, these characters, I'm so glad they kept them around. There's less of it in series 3, unfortunately, but
well, I mean, it's still a great thing. And I think I love too that like the 70s, 80s aesthetic, everyone's hair is super clean, super big, you know, like especially at least with the main cast, like with Ray, with Toast, and with Janet. Everyone else, again, it's just like current. And it's just that split is just hilarious to me, and I have no idea why.
Well, I will say, for those that enjoy the the voice work of Matthew Berry, they released it's a fictionalized autobiography of Stephen Toast, and the audiobook is read by Matt Berry, and I hear it's very funny. I have not listened to it though.
I feel like this whole show is an autobiography of him, and that alone, I can't like. Have you ever seen Italian Spider-Man?
I have not.
Yo, man. Okay.
Should I pull this up?
I don't know if you can here.
Just you can tell me a little bit about it, and I'll see if I can find it.
Nope, it's right there. I don't think it's supposed to be good, but it's just all of the elements of what we watched in this. Only it's not trying to be.
Oh my. Okay, so I'm looking at a man with probably the worst drawing of a spider I've ever seen on his chest. And he's wearing like a bank robber's eye mask. When was this set? This had to have been like the 60s, 70s, right?
I don't know. I don't know.
I highly recommend. Oh, I know that GIF. I've seen that GIF before. I didn't realize that was from Italian Spider-Man. This is a legendary GIF. Oh my gosh. Okay, it's a film parody.
It's not real, like real. It's just terrible in all the best way possible.
Oh my gosh, it's a show. I thought it was a movie.
I watched it as a movie. I watched like a 2-hour thing with my friend once.
Okay, yeah, there are 10 episodes, so it must be.
And they ran it all together then.
Made up of 10 mini episodes. Yeah, I think it's on YouTube. So if anyone wants to watch Italian Spider-Man, it looks like it's one of those, like, you know, the guy does everything for the movie. He's the actor, the writer, the director, producer. But it's intentional. So if you like intentionally bad, you might enjoy this. It came out in 2007.
Yeah, I think Intentionally Bad is one of my favorite.
Yeah, it's great. This is fantastic. Yeah, I could see this. See, this is something I could see. Like, Toast is hearing that he's going to get involved in this Italian version of Spider-Man, and then Jane realizes she fucked up and gets him this role. I think that'd be hilarious.
Especially if you got cast as like one of the rocks that Spider-Man has to climb up.
Yeah, he wouldn't even be Spider-Man.
He would. He'd be the guy who gives Spider-Man his mask or something like that.
Yeah, this is wonderful.
I don't know why it's just the camera angles and the old. So, like, I love when things don't try to be funny. They realize the tropes they're going after are so ridiculous, and they're gonna milk them for all they've got. I think that's why I love this show so much.
Yeah, 100%, and yeah, I'm very excited at the prospect of new Toast of London. I'm hoping that, you know, they start filming when COVID gets better.
Me too, considering I just blew through the first three seasons. No, like I didn't.
Well, yeah, I guess I should have warned you. There's more of his work to see, thankfully. I'll get you a copy of Snuff Box because I can't find it anywhere.
Oh man, okay.
Yeah, because I highly recommend it. It's hilarious, and Mighty Boosh is on Netflix, I think. So I would check that out. Yeah, and now that What We Do in the Shadows is done for the year.
Which, did you see that? Did you watch that?
Yeah, so I watched the movie when it came out. And then when I heard they were doing a show, I was kind of hesitant because I feel like TV adaptations of movies are not great. So I waited for the first season to come out and heard the reviews were really good. So I decided to watch it, and I think it's fantastic.
No, I guess, sorry, more specifically, did you finish season 3?
Oh, yeah. Do we want to talk a little bit about season 3?
I think that could be our next media club.
Oh, hell yeah. Yeah, I'd be down to do that. I think it'd be great. I guess we just talk all of What We Do in the Shadows.
Yeah, I think that'd be. What, did I find a way to sneakily introduce my recommendation for the next media club in this episode? Did I do that? And is it still Matt Berry related? Does that mean I have a high level of charisma? Also, I love when they edit in the horse neighs while he's having sex.
Oh yeah, that's so good, man. Him having sex is like, it's so weird to me because it's so gross, but it's also hilarious.
I never thought I usually TV shows ruin sex all the time. Even movies, they ruin it because they either try to make it too sexy or too, like, I don't know. They just fucked sex up. The biggest people I know who fucked sex up were the Watchmen. They made sex so terrible in that movie.
Oh yeah, I was thinking the TV show.
Oh, I watched the TV show, but the movie made sex terrible. In this scene, but whenever he has sex, it's not. I feel like it's approachable still because I don't know anybody who has good sex faces. We're not porn stars. We're just getting off. I would never want to record myself and see what I look like having sex. And
that's fair, yeah.
Thank you for a lovely wife who puts up with it.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah, I will also give thanks.
Just like watching him like do the side to side the face shake and the whinnies of this.
Yeah,
it's just hilarious. It adds to the ethos of who Stephen Toast is. You know, it doesn't take away from the character. He's not trying to be super suave. He's just like, yes,
yes. I love when he's doing the horse recording and they're like, Stephen, that was more of a whinny. Can you give us a neigh?
He goes, well, should I say neigh or should I do a horse neigh? Call New York real quick. Okay, New York says make the sound. Okay. How was that? Let's talk to New York. Okay, sorry, Stephen. There seems to be some confusion in New York between if you should say neigh or if it should be a neigh.
Oh, the show is so wonderful. Matt Berry is a freaking treasure. I forever will love this man. He's so great. I guess that's really all we have. It's a short season, so there's not much we can say without basically diving into each episode. So it sounds like so the next episode, which is going to be coming out November 5th, it'll be Election Day episode. We're gonna be talking about What We Do in the Shadows. For those that don't know, What We Do in the Shadows is a comedy on FX, and it's on Hulu. So for those that don't do the cable like us, but it's basically shot like a documentary a la like The Office, and it follows 4 vampires that live together in Staten Island. They're from the medieval period, but the show is set modern day, and they've got this assistant, Guillermo, who he's their familiar that helps them around the house, and the show is incredible.
It really is. And I would say, too, the best thing about this is this show uses the documentary style, one person, explaining narrative to the camera. They don't overbeat it like a lot of shows do. I feel like it still feels very natural. Maybe it's just because I like the subject matter more. I just feel like there's a lot of shows that have used that trope and kind of beat the piss out of it with no real reason to have it. This show still feels documentary. It feels more documentary than The Office did, I think.
Yeah, I agree. And they still do the like single person kind of discussion moments. They feel more purposeful, and there's far less references to the camera people when they're not like interviewing. So,
oh yeah. Well, I feel like the cameras. I feel like it feels more realistic, like it is a documentary, because they talk directly to the camera people all the time.
Yeah. I mean, more in the like outside of the one-on-one. I feel like it's not referenced as much, but maybe I need to rewatch the early seasons.
Rewatch it because they talk to about it a lot. like when the older vampire comes out, he goes, "Oh, who are these guys?" Like,
oh yeah.
Like, well, can I eat them? Like, no, don't eat them. They're guests. Really? Well, okay.
That is great. I totally forgot about that moment. That's awesome. And it's the guy that did Shape of Water and Pan's Labyrinth as the So yeah, November 5th we're gonna talk about season 3 of What We Do in the Shadows. I will say you should definitely watch seasons 1 and 2 because we're not gonna go dive into it, but we'll probably discuss moments from the early seasons.
Oh yeah, we definitely will. I mean, I feel like season 3 did so well to really kind of differentiate itself that we could talk about it on a standalone, but some context, it's just gonna be fun to rewatch these again, honestly.
Yeah, they give some hints earlier in seasons 1 and 2 that play a big role in season 3. So, all right, cool. So next week, what are we talking about, Zach?
Next week will be...
You'll have to wait and find out. Until next time on This Podcast is for Nerds.